Maybe. Jon, we did it.
All right.
What's going on, man?
Oh, it's just a lovely day here. Lovely day.
It is. It is. It's a day. I think I feel like, I don't know why. I've been stuck in this house for a while now. My daughter's sick. I'm not feeling too hot. And I've been in this room on calls for the last 2 hours, and it feels like it's 7 o'clock at night, but I know it's not. It's really 4. But I see the daylight in your camera there. So
yeah, it just started raining, but it's warm. So I'm gonna take that as a win. And we were just down in Orlando, enjoyed the beautiful sunshine and warmth down there. So I'm excited for the next couple weeks and some warm weather and some springtime. And obviously really excited to come down to North Carolina to Sales Boost in 4 weeks.
I think this week coming, this Thursday makes it 3 weeks officially, 21 days. So that's kind of crazy. It's right around the corner.
It's real, man. It's real.
Yeah, we're in less than 4 weeks now, so we're getting excited to have you. But yeah, we got to hang out with you down in Florida at the PWMCA. That was exciting.
Yeah, good. That was a lot of fun. That was my first time there. I didn't know what to expect, but thanks to you, encouraged me to put myself out there and get up on stage. And I had the opportunity to do a presentation there to help some people figure out some clever ideas with marketing. And I saw a lot of light bulbs go off. I got a lot of great feedback from the presentation I did. So it was a ton of fun. I love doing that.
Yeah, you were meant for the stage. We saw you last year at Sales Boost, and you weren't even supposed to be on there. And something went wrong. Somebody didn't show up, and you're like, "Hey, I've got a filler." And you jumped on there, and you're like a natural, man. You're up there, and I remember everybody like just so excited to hear your speech because it's about hiring, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And just a ton of great feedback, but just like not even. I mean, there's not any preparation. You just said, "Hey, I've got this. I'm gonna go on stage. I'm gonna show everybody how I do this," and you rolled with it.
Yeah, man. It's just shared what I was doing with our hiring process. I think I literally took 20 minutes to throw some screenshots together from our Indeed posts and our application process, and just rolled with it. And I'm grateful that so many people got value out of it. That was my intent. I just wanted to share value, and hopefully, every time I share information and just having conversations like this, that people tune in and watch and take their time out of their day to watch. I always hope to deliver at least some level of value that they could walk away and be like, "Oh, that was worth my time listening to."
Absolutely. And I love these conversations, especially with you. You've jumped on quite a few of the Sales Boost calls, but even the other day when it was just you and Angela and I forget exactly what we were talking about. But we both had light bulb moments as we're like talking with each other, discussing things out. We're like, "Oh yeah, I think we're talking about commission." And
it was like the sales process and like door knocking and stuff like that. Yes, the conversation was something around that.
Yeah. So it's important to have those conversations and not with yourself, because like if it's me talking to me, I'm going to just beat myself down and never figure it out. But once I start talking with somebody, even if you don't understand it or just don't have the same experience with it, we can just talk it out and just get different points of views. And then sometimes just me saying it out loud to somebody, I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, that was so much easier than I thought." I'm sitting here just beating myself up.
Yeah, we tend to overcomplicate things, right? Especially as entrepreneurs. Like we've got these lofty ideas and we just want to move. I was just talking to somebody actually via Messenger literally before I jumped on here. And it was like we're thinking so far in the future. We miss what's right in front of us, and sometimes the next simple step to take to get us towards that. And it's just right. How many other entrepreneurs can like resonate with that you're thinking 15 steps ahead and you've got the picture of what the final result is, but you struggle so much to like, okay, what's the next simple step that I need to take? Or have my team, execute on
Absolutely.
to get there. Right. We just
Yep.
see the big picture and kind of fixate on it.
Yeah. And again, that's why I like going to so many trade shows, whether it's the first time I've been to one or the fifth time, sixth time I've been to one. The huge, been to them, I think 5 or 6 times already, but it's just getting in a room of like-minded individuals to talk about those things and just figure out, how do we make things work? How can I execute on paper performance? How can I hire a sales guy? When do I need to bring the next rig into my company? Like all those things that other companies are already doing. Why are we going to sit here and just beat ourselves up over and over and over trying to figure it out when that wheel's already been turned?
Yeah. I like, what you just explained and described there. I'm not a very good musician. So, I like to consider that my form of like jamming with other musicians. Like it's jamming with other business owners. Like that's how I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I mean, if I could play an instrument, I feel like that's what it would be like to get in a room with other, good players of other instruments, and you just kind of start jamming and free flowing, and that's what it's like. So yeah,
The entrepreneurial drummer, right?
yeah, that's right.
We got some comments here. What's up, guys? Train employees showed me I have trust issues.
Oh, that's a deep
one. Jason, let's talk about that one, buddy. And then Todd, saying you're finally at the point where I had to let it go. So, Jason, fun fact, fun story. I remember my first hire and the day I let them drive off with the truck, the flatbed. And I tell the story in a couple of speeches I do on stage. And it's like, I just waited there. I had my phone in hand and I'm just waiting for that phone to ring because everything was going to go wrong. If it could have gone wrong, it was going to go wrong that day, the day they went off by themselves. And the customers are going to call and complain. The house got bleached out, whatever it was. And the phone never rang. It didn't ring that week. It didn't ring that month. Like, it just never rang. Like, we sit here and just overanalyze and overthink it. And, as long as we're doing them right and empower them to do the things that we're asking them to do and train them, obviously, we got to train them very properly. It's hard to let go, John. I don't remember, when was the first hire that you had to let go on the truck? You got very nice equipment up there, expensive truck, expensive rigs. It's not easy to see $100,000 rig drive off and hope nothing's going to go wrong. But how many times has it really gone wrong? It's not worth the stress of it. If it goes wrong, we'll figure it out. But if that's going to hold you back from growing your business and allow you to start working on your business instead of in your business, like you're only selling yourself short.
Yeah. Similar to your story, I can still picture we were running the business out of our house, the house that we're still in right now. And I can picture standing in the driveway, watching the truck pull away and thinking, oh my goodness, this is it. Like it was such a whirlwind of emotions, right? It was exciting and it was terrifying at the same exact time. But, it's similar experience to you. Like the phone never rang. Things were okay. But something I've had to, I think the experience I had to work through in my own brain and head to understand is that the question I had to ask myself, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like really the worst thing that's going to happen.
Right.
The business I'm not going to go out of business because a guy damaged something on somebody's property, right? Chances of that are very, 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 very low. Like, I'm not saying it can't happen, but the probability is so low, like you shouldn't waste your energy worrying about that. So backpedal it from there. Okay, well, what's the worst thing that happens? All right, they damaged something. It costs a couple $1,000. What do you do then? It gives you the opportunity as the business owner to step up and take care of it. And then if you take care of it right and do right by the customer, sometimes you earn that customer for life.
Yep.
Even though you screwed up, it's how you handle it. And, so if you just kind of flip your perception and mentality on employees and like wanting to let go of control of that and look at it as an opportunity that when something goes wrong, because look, something's going to go wrong. And if you're on the truck all the time doing things, the chances of something going wrong is so small, right? Because you own the thing, your name's on it, right?
Yep.
It's your reputation. But when you have an employee in play, it's a different situation. So when something goes wrong, it's how you as the owner of the business are going to step up and take care of it and treat the customer the way you'd want to be treated. And when you do that, more often than not, you're going to earn that customer's business for their lifetime.
Yeah. And, in line with that, be the leader that you want leading yourself. So if something does go wrong, and I've been there where I overreacted, yelled, cursed, probably threw things, and just got upset over the tiniest little things. That's not the person I would ever want leading me. So why am I that leader to them? Just talk to them, because here's the big thing. You want to have an open line of communication. I said this conversation earlier with somebody I was talking to, where they feel free, open, and safe to come to you and say, hey, John, I messed up. I was doing this and we bleached a plan out, or we ruined this, because I'd rather my team come to me and tell me that there's an issue versus a customer call me and say, hey, by the way, your guys did this and destroyed it. Then you go back to them like, hey, well, what happened to this? And then they give you that dumb look like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they can come to you and say, hey, I messed up and we need to fix this. How can we do this? Fix it. Again, go to the customer, make it right, make them happy, and then figure out a way forward. Is it something we didn't train to? Is it just something you were completely negligent to and you messed up? But and Joe's got a great point here. That's exactly right. So, but yeah, you want to just be able to communicate with your team, to have them tell you when things are wrong, but make sure you have a solid training plan so that when they're out there that they feel safe and comfortable on the job. Hold on, I'm reading this.
Yeah, it's your training too, going back to your point, JC, as a leader and being that person, that the leader that not only just accepts when things go wrong, but like we're okay with it. I don't want to say you encourage like mishaps, but they know that if the time, like Joe said, same thing might happen on day one as it will 5 years from now that they've been working with you. But like, if that happens, they own it, right? Yeah. It's ownership. And that's a core value of ours. We own it. And if you screwed up, so what? It's okay. Nobody's perfect. Own up to it and let's make it right. So as long as that can be instilled in your team in the training, and let them know it's okay. And let them know, like, give them the leeway. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up, and it's okay.
Guess what? I still mess up.
That's right. Like, we mess up every day, right? So it's with the technicians, it's just a matter of you're gonna mess up, and sometimes, right? Think back to a time that you screwed something up. More than likely, you learned from that, and if it was a painful enough situation, it was enough that you're not going to mess up again. So it's a similar concept with our employees. Let them experience that discomfort and that pain, handle it, move on. Chances are they're not going to do it again.
Yeah, I think I'd say like micromanaging is probably in the top 3 bad leadership habits of new entrepreneurs, because they want everything right, and they want it done like their way and their way only. And I love this story when Joe, my operations manager, when he would be out on his own working with his team, he'd call me. It's like, hey, JC, I've got this issue on the job. I don't know what to do. And he's trying to figure out a way to clean it. He just wasn't sure about how to do it. And I'm like, Joe, what would you do? How would you do it? And he'd tell me. I'm like, go ahead and do it. I wouldn't even give him an answer. Just go ahead and do it. And then it would just call. He'd call a week later. Hey, what do I do? I'm like, Joe, what would you do? Well, then go ahead and do it. I never correct him. Even if I would do it like this, just the tiniest way different, I would still let him do it because it's the way he wants to do it. And then if it went wrong, we'd figure it out. But I would never set him up for failure, first of all. But I knew that the way he was doing it, it was going to get done right. It may not be exactly the way I want to do it, but the phone call stopped. Like over the months, it stopped. And I'm like, Joe, you never call me anymore. He's like, I know. I always knew what I needed to do, but I just felt like I needed your reinsurance. And now I feel confident in myself to be able to go out and do the job without asking you every time. But had I give him my answer every time he gave me his answer, then he would just feel like, well, shoot, my way is never good enough. And I just need to get that, every single time I need to see what JC says. But instead I empowered him to feel confident in his decisions, to go out there and do those things. And again, like you said, if he made mistakes, we'll figure it out and we'll talk it through.
Yeah. Another good principle that I remember our friend Mike Dahlke shared with us is creating decision-making framework. Mm-hmm. And share that with your team. And if they can check 3 simple boxes, of the framework, how you would make a decision.
Yeah.
Train them on how you make decisions. And if you can distill it down to a simple framework where they check 3 boxes and answer yes to these 3 things, they don't even have to call, right? Because that's ultimately what Joe was doing, was like he wanted that validation of that decision. Yep. And if you can build that into your training program and distill down your decision-making process as an owner, you can disperse that through all the people on your team, and it significantly cuts down on the number of phone calls you get as a leader.
Oh, absolutely. Just count on how many wasted phone calls. And not that it's wasted, because it was obviously important for them to call, but had they had that framework to make that decision themselves versus trying to get out the phone, call me, shut down the machines, go through it all, when they could have said, oh, wait, oh, yeah, all right, this is how we're going to do it, or this is what I need to do. Hello, Angela. She is coming home to make some dinner, I think. Schmitty, what's up, buddy? That's a good question. Biggest lessons learned in your journey? Yeah. Schmitty actually just had a conversation with a guy earlier today, going back to we were in the Navy together over in Guam and stationed on an oil platform that blew up on us. That was a fun time. I'm gonna go back to that. Biggest lesson learned.
I think for me, while you think on that, is that I wanted to grow something bigger than I could do myself. So I realized that I needed to bring people around me that could help me get there. I wasn't going to be able to achieve what I wanted to on my own. So once I realized that I needed a team of good people around me to ultimately achieve what I want. I love what Tommy Mello said at one point, your dreams need to be big enough for everybody else's on your team to fit inside. Yep. Like, that one like really convicted me, like, ooh, man, maybe I'm not thinking big enough, So, but I think that's probably my biggest thing. And it has to go back to my team. Cause look, I was actually on a call with Responsivid yesterday, going through some back end stuff, and they pulled my account up, and I'm looking in, I'm like, I didn't even know this was set up. I kind of felt stupid, but like it was pretty cool, because I'm like, I don't remember, I didn't do this. Somebody else clearly was in here and did it. So, it's not me, it's my team now. So
yeah, and mine definitely, I love that one too, because that's where life really changed for me, was 2019 when I started growing my team. But in play of that though was that it's okay to ask for help. I forever thought that I could only do it, and I was weak if I needed help. So no matter what it was, how challenging it was, I was going to fight through it and do it. It might have been painful. It might have been long hours. It might have been very expensive. But now that I know that it's okay for help, and that I know that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this struggle, that facing this challenge, and I can reach out to people like yourself, like Joe, and ask and get a not a smart ass remark and just make me feel worse about myself, that I can feel better for asking that question. That was huge. That plays into going to shows and talking to people, joining Conquer and getting a coach, and just letting out all the vulnerable moments of my life of where like things weren't going good. Like things sucked. I wanted to quit. I wanted to shut it down. I had employee issues. I had personal issues, and just be okay to talk to somebody about that and just say, hey, I need help today. And I'm asking for your help. So, and Joe said, never stop advertising. Yeah, absolutely. It's easier to be proactive rather than reactive. And that's what happens often 2 times. Actually, I thought my Google ads has been on for the last 2 months, and I'm wondering why we're dead. And I reached out to a couple guys. I'm like, is your phone ringing? Like, yeah, we're getting a couple phone calls here and there. And turns out I never hit send on the email to turn my Google ads back on. And guess what? Our phone's ringing again. So, yes, we need to be advertising, even in the slow season, when you're probably not working. So, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you. So, yeah, good stuff. Good question, guys. I like this. Anybody has any other questions, go ahead, fire away. This is fun. This is what it's all about. But let's go back to Florida. What was your topic down in Florida?
So it was revolutionizing your revenue. So using 4 simple ideas to increase your marketing efforts without blowing your marketing budget.
Mm.
So, sort of to Joe's point, never stop advertising. Advertising marketing can get really expensive. And I sort of fear that, especially in our industry, that as more people sort of hit this level of scale of growing and adding trucks, and there's been a lot more companies coming on board with the introduction of Conquer and other coaching platforms of being able to grow your company and scale quickly. I fear there's been a bit of I guess I'm going to use the term laziness around marketing and just throwing money at agencies and companies and thinking that it's just going to work, right? Just trusting that it's going to work. And look, if you're on this, if you're listening, chances are at least 50% of you have had a bad experience with some marketing company or agency.
John, I don't know if I lost you or you lost me. I don't know. I don't want to talk over John, so hopefully. But anyway, to John's point, I'm going to do a quick sidebar. Maybe he's going to pop back in. I'm not sure. Yeah, the big thing about the marketing and hiring a company is, do your research. There's so many companies out there right now that say, we'll get you #1 page on in Google within a week, within a month, whatever it is. And we all know that's bull BS. So you got to do your own due diligence to do the research on that one, and make sure you're following up with them, asking for the KPIs, getting the metrics, doing all that stuff. And John bounced out. Maybe we'll come back in. But with that too, it doesn't hurt to have another company actually look at your account and go through and see, if everything is looking good. I actually met a guy when I was at Top Rep the other day with Chuck Toki's company out there, and this guy did a brilliant presentation on SEO. And what his company does. And while we're there, I scanned the QR code. I set up a call with him yesterday because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if we're getting the best marketing dollar spent on SEO. And he went through my account and he's like, dude, like, I can't give you anything right now. I don't know. There's usually I find a hole and say, like, this could be better. This needs to be better. But it was good to know that he went through my account, validated it. He asked me questions. He tried pulling stuff up. And he's like, I make a couple changes to this, couple changes to that. But it doesn't hurt to at least reach out to other companies and see how well your current marketing company is doing. John's internet went down, so he may or may not be jumping back on with us. That's okay. So we'll catch up with John later and get him to finish talking about his story. But if anybody else has any other questions about marketing, go ahead and drop it in. Smitty said SOPs. Yes, SOPs are incredible to have. Whether you've got one employee or you've got 20 employees, it's so important to start building those out early in your business. It just makes it easier. And you can do them with AI and everything. It's so easy. All you have to do is go around and have somebody record you speaking through your training, whether it's how to start a pressure washing machine, how to pressure wash a house, how to surface clean a driveway. Somebody can record that, and you can actually take that recording back into transcribe it, throw it into ChatGPT, and then have ChatGPT build out that SOP. The important thing about that is not only do you have it in black and white, so now you have built out SOPs, you can teach everybody the same way, the same process, and not have like technician A learn how to pressure wash a driveway this way, and technician B learn how to do it this way, because this way you kept thinking differently that day. But as you're trying to hire higher level candidates within your company, if they come in there and see you have SOPs, you have a company handbook, you have HR, you have all these things, it's going to make you more attractive to a higher level of candidate pools versus a company that's just, and I'm not knocking this at all because we all started somewhere, a company that doesn't have that. So it's real important to build those out. And for all systems, admin, sales, HR, all those things. Hiring is to market our business. Yeah, I love TPO cleaning. Here's a fun advice for you, or a quick tip, Todd. If you have a VA, you just have them go on Google Earth and just pull up your area, and then just move the map on Google Earth and look for TPO roofs and you can just do some cold calling and send off some estimates as well too, based off of the square footage and everything like that. Obviously, you want to do your due diligence on the place, make sure they have water, proper drainage, all that stuff. But it's just an easy way for them to start building on estimates and sending out some blind estimates to companies and see what bites. And if anything, you at least got your information out to a higher demographic or higher candidate pool by sending out those emails. But also follow up with a knock and dropping your card off and let them know you sent off that information. So, all right, let me see. John just messaged. John's internet went out. I'm going to go take care of my young daughter because she's laying on the couch. We're going to watch the Airbender. It's a pretty cool show on Netflix. But John will be speaking at the Sales Boost March 20th to 23rd. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the comments below so you can go ahead and get your tickets. The room block was expired last week. We did ask for an extension, so we have a couple more days on the room block. If you're still interested, and Todd, that's what I did. Total call. There you go. Awesome. Yes, you got to talk to the decision maker. Then you got to talk your way through the gatekeeper. So be friendly, be excited, and get her